Coming up in this episode of the KickCast, a way to keep in contact with your kids without a smartphone, stop losing your lens cap with the HackTack, and the QiPack brings wireless to portable charging. So sit back and relax. It's time for the KickCast. Hey everybody, it is time for another episode of the KickCast. I am Ktdata, and joining me is a man who has transcended video. He's decided to go into another genre, singing and songwriting. So the author of the soon-to-be popular Indie Game of the Week, Drew Tyler. How are you doing, Drew?
Indie game of the week. Yeah, once you figure out video, you just got to start making your own jingles. Thanks, KT. Good to be here. Glad to be here. Let's do this.
I love to have you here. So if you guys have not seen the KickCast before, what Drew and I do is we go out into the world and find amazing crowdfunding projects. I mean, it was kind of a tough one this week because I was deciding between an advanced modular beer cozy and a dry erase sticky note. It was so tough.
A little bit of foam in that dry erase sticky note. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but we do go find some interesting and creative projects, and boy, do we have some for you today. But before we jump into that, let's jump into some news.
I will tell you what's newsy. I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Let's go.
All right, Drew. Guess what? Somebody had a birthday this week.
Was it the big Kickstarter itself?
Yes, you better believe it. So
How many years?
They are actually 5 years old now.
Wow.
5.
I just had a little girl turn 5. Wow. I bet their parents feel really old. 5 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's crazy. And the fun thing I love about Kickstarter is they didn't really have any fanfare. They're like, oh, look, we turned 5. Here's a YouTube video of the history on there. So if you are ever curious of the history of Kickstarter or something, go check this out. You can see the small office and how they grew from there and how they're at a team of like 70 now, which is
that's
insane.
impressive.
They started off with just a team of 5 or something like that. And
That's fantastic.
They were all excited when they hired like the new employee. They're like, woo!
Right. Those are the good old days. Very cool.
So happy birthday, Kickstarter. And hopefully this show has helped some of your creators get some backers on there. If not, Drew and I are just solely backing everything.
Yeah, that's us. We kept them. It's us. We hired 70 people.
Yeah. All right. So this is an interesting article from the NPR, from their All Things Considered show.
Which I love.
They actually had this little article and sound clip, I guess, or you can call it a full show on there. And they were talking about how Kickstarter has become a hunting ground for venture capitalists and investors to find the next billion-dollar idea.
Makes sense.
And it kind of goes into this little incentive where this light bulb right here, I think I remember showing Vasal from So Simbo this, and he ended up instantly backing it. But it shows you some of the ideas of people raising money. I think the Formlabs, the 3D printer guys, they ended up raising $20 million in venture capital.
Yep. Oculus obviously did.
Yeah, Oculus. They got bought out by Facebook, probably due to part of.
And I'm sure they were like entertaining a lot of offers before that. I'm sure.
Of theirs. But they kind of tell you that when you see these Kickstarter projects come out, a lot of the time they're messaging in the background. Some of these companies actually know who these venture capitalist people are, so when they see them back a project, they're talking in the background on there. And I just wanted to. I don't understand this part right here. We're seeing a lot of kickback because of this. They're like, oh, Kickstarter is this place where, the little guys get their start and whatnot, and we're going to go, it's not right for these venture capitalists to come in and try to buy out these companies. And I don't understand that. Why is there so much pushback on that?
Yeah, that's strange for me too, because I feel like it's not a homegrown place. Like the idea of Kickstarter is not like, okay, let's home grow this and build it with our friends and family. It is an idea, like I have a great idea and I want you to help me make it real. And that just seems like the perfect fodder for any sort of investor to come in and say, you have a great idea, let me help you make it real. I mean, I don't know why there should be any.
Yeah.
Well, I understand why. I agree with you that there shouldn't be. I think that fair game.
Yeah, because to me, I'm like, well, isn't this the whole point of Kickstarter is to
notoriety or backing?
Get eyeballs on these projects.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's proof of concept when you have people willing to put money behind it, where you're getting these bigger companies going, yeah, And I just don't understand. Maybe it's because everybody kind of thinks this is where the little guy's gonna strike out on his own and go independent and whatnot on there. But I only see this as a
And they can.
good thing.
Yeah, I
Really.
do too. I do too. I
Um,
think that makes sense for the investors to come in and to build up things that otherwise would probably organically grow slower, like Oculus, for instance. I
yeah.
mean, that was a huge one indeed, but they're going to be able to go faster, do more, even farther now that they have a different kind of backing than just the PC gamer, fanboys. So
Yeah.
I see nothing but good.
And I, honestly, even Oculus, I think that was one of the greatest things that happened in virtual reality now.
All
So
right.
sure, you might not want to do the Oculus. That may inspire another guy who's in his basement. It's like, this Facebook, they're taking up the VR world. I can do this better on my own. And he starts his own company, and they could be even bigger than Oculus then.
Yep.
But yeah,
I believe it. I believe it, and it's just the same. Even with the artsy projects, I mean, they're short films and films that are heading towards festivals and other things, and that's a lot of reason why you go to festivals is to get that notoriety and to get somebody to back it up and say, yeah, let's make this on a full scale or let's distribute. So I'm all for it. I think it's a fine place to show off your stuff.
yeah. I mean, LaserMorn kind of makes a point that venture capitalists have tons of money, and it's not. I wouldn't say it's an insta fund because you read that article, they say they'll back maybe $100 level or something, but they're not gonna totally fund the project on there.
Right, they'll do it in the back channels.
Yeah.
Is what they'll do, and they'll say, okay, if this runs great, but I believe in it, I'll see your popularity throughout the 30-day run. Let's make sure we talk at the end of this. Yeah, so I would have to agree that it's not an Insta fund, but it's maybe a behind the scenes fund because I think they're looking for that popularity to prove concept.
Yeah, and then Rev makes another good point that if they retain creative control, I don't have a problem with this. I mean, as somebody who's trying to build a podcast network from the ground up, I'd appreciate a little extra funds to help get a boost going. I mean,
What if they made you do a show about cats every day? Would you take that money? Cat money?
no.
That's what I'm saying. That's where your creativity out the window
so,
because
yeah.
now you got a backer.
Yeah, but it's to me, I think it's good business sense.
It is.
I can't say I went to business school, but it seems like if somebody comes in and offers you money that's going to help something that you're passionate about, and they're still allowing you to do what you need to do to get your passion out,
Go and do.
I think that goes back to the thing of Kickstarter. You've just used that to find another source to kind of get your project out, and now you even have other eyeballs on it. I mean, I'll tell you, there's lots of projects I would have never found by myself if it wasn't for Kickstarter and being able to do that. And some of them I didn't even back, but I kept progress with them. And when they actually got a product out, I went out and bought it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I'll agree with Laser Gnome. He mentions as well. It's kind of not within the spirit of the Kickstarter, but it's not. I mean, I'll agree with that. It's not within the spirit of Kickstarter because it is that kind of like let's home grow it, let's kind of crowdfund it together. We don't need the big investors, and it's giving more people a chance. But I don't mind that handful of top 5-10% that are getting those background investors that are just they're probably a surefire thing anyway, or finding it. There are still enough homegrown projects on there that doesn't faze me.
yeah, because I highly doubt something like our show would ever get picked up by CBS or anything. But if you're from CBS, ABC, or any of those corporations, you know where to reach us.
Maybe they would give me a mascara allowance, and I could color in my mustache with a little mascara. KT doesn't give me any clothing allowance.
It's in the non-existent budget.
Someday.
All right, so that's it's light week on the news. So let's just jump into our first project. And Drew, I know you have little girls.
I do. I do.
And I think they're all under 10, right? If I'm correct.
Yes, Alyssa's 7.
Yeah. So they've probably asked you for this before. They probably come up, Daddy, can I get a phone?
Yep.
And you've had that, and of course, when young kids, they don't really need a phone. They should be outside running around.
Right.
But then you run the risk of where are the kids. So this kind of solves both of those problems right here. It's called the Tinitel, and it has actually a wrist phone for kids on there. So I don't think you can fit an adult arm into this, but it's this little plastic, durable phone on there that you can just slap in a SIM card. Yeah,
it's simple.
There's like 4 buttons on there. There's the answer button, the on-off button, I think, and
then
the volume buttons
Yep.
on there. And what is great about it is since it's limited with these buttons, it actually uses voice commands. So your little girls could be like, call daddy, and then it will call you instantly.
Which my 7-year-old loves. She'll grab any of our phones right now and she'll be like, tell daddy, come home right now, Cambria. And it'll like, Siri will write it up and I'll get texts from her all the time. Awesome.
And it's great for kids because what happens is that you can use an iPhone app to control it. So you can control who can call that phone. So you don't have random creeps calling your daughter's wrist on there.
Which has always been a concern of mine as a dad.
Yeah, and you can control the contacts that they can call because you're going to be the ones who importing in there.
I love that idea on this one. Like when I was looking through their options and the GUI, that's fantastic for me to be able to get onto my app and say, okay, she's allowed to call grandma and mom and dad and make it that locked. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and some of the other cool things is there's a built-in GPS. So you can actually load up the phone app and find out where your girls are without even calling them. So you can keep an eye on them without keeping an eye on them.
Which is fine. I mean, even just today, and I don't do this very often, but a girl from the neighborhood came over to our house and said, hey, can Cam play? I said, yeah, sure, okay, but come back, because we always have kids play at our house. We're one of those parents that's like, if you play, it has to be here. So I said, you can go down. It's like a block and a half away. You can go down, play at her house, and I'll come home at 5:15 or I'm coming to get you. So 5:15 comes, I start heading that way, and the girl that she's playing with comes from like another block away towards me, and I'm like, where's my kid? She was at the right house at the right place playing with the dog, but had she disappeared from there, I would have been like, why didn't you stay where you were supposed to be?
Yeah.
So I love this.
Yeah, and the nice thing, this is, I can't imagine your little angels being this, but if they're rebellious and don't pick up the phone, you can set your phone, the Tindytel, to automatically answer phone calls from specific numbers. So
anytime I call, my girls wouldn't do that yet, but I see it coming. I see it coming.
So you can fight the rebellion by going on there. And I just love how simple it is, and it's just that solution for a little kid because you can go buy some of those prepaid cell phone plans on here. It would be dirt cheap, so you don't have to have a.
I think that would be the key. Right, because for me, I'm looking at like I have a line for me, a line for the wife. If I'm adding a third or a fourth or a fifth line, that starts to worry me. But if these could be put on those prepaid cards, and I knew how little I was going to use it, which wouldn't be much more than checking in, I could make this work.
Yeah, because this wristwatch is compatible with T-Mobile and AT&T in the US or anywhere else that you have a GSM phone. It's fully unlocked. You can call in. And I see a lot of people are like, yeah, these kid phones tend to fail. But part of those kid phones they're either overly complicated on there or they have some crazy data usage bill that's attached to it.
Right. I think that would be I'd like to see that kind of, and I've heard the same thing. They always fail. They never happen. And the fact that I've seen them for a couple of years now and yet to see one in the wild does concern me. But this one seems to have the simplicity and the easiness. There's a lot of good with this one. Yeah. Like it's only the basics, but it's still got that open SDK that you could make things work well with it for new ideas. I'm very tempted. Tempted.
And it's a watch. I guarantee your girls are probably jealous of your Pebble that you're wearing right now.
Yes.
So you're like, this is sort of like your own Pebble right there. And it's even cooler than Dad's because you can actually make a phone call with it.
If it had a Pebble face and I could send messages to like text or even just send a message that was like, come home now, that would be extra cool. Maybe that's coming down the road.
We should tell them that should be version 2.0.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I do love the simplicity because it's not as a phone, it's not a distraction. Like if I gave her an iPod or I wouldn't give her an iPhone, but if I gave her an iPod Touch or something that was like, hey, I want to be able to contact you throughout the day, take this with you, I'd be really worried about it.
She'd be playing games or something on it.
That's what I'd be worried about.
This one's, there's nothing to play on. It's just, it's a phone. And
call or don't call, and they would know. So I'll tell you my take on this. I have, I'm always wary of making our kids too connected. I mean, growing up myself, I did just fine with one game console, and I didn't need a cell phone. I turned out okay, but at the same time, I want my kids to, what's the word? Like, I don't want to overly connect them or make them too dependent on technology.
Mhm.
But as the dad, the protection factor and the monitoring factor, there's, is it just peace of mind? I don't know. There's something about this one that I go, yeah, I could swing for that because I feel like it would benefit me as a parent. And I almost said I'm a very good parent. That's debatable. I'm a very protective parent. I'm pretty protective about my girls, who they play with, where they go, and so this would just be one more like set of eyes.
Um, yeah.
Yes.
Like I'm not even a parent, and I think this is a good idea. So, because I would be if I was a parent, I'd be the horrible dad that like chip all their kids and everything, and yeah,
And when they came in through the front door, the RFID chip would go off, and it'd be like, Sally is home.
yeah, and it'd be like do your homework and like lock specific rooms. Like you can't go into the kitchen until your homework's done. Like
And they'd have to wave their hands in front of like any PlayStation or anything else to do anything
Yeah.
besides their homework until that was flipped. That's
Yeah.
brilliant.
yeah,
That's good.
I'd probably drive my kids nuts on there. So that is the Tinnytel, and it's a track for me just because I don't have kids. But I'm guessing it's a back for you.
It is, and I think I especially love the tiers. I think the early bird was $99. Totally affordable. Totally affordable to be able to call my girl, anytime. And I've only had once in 7 years. I've only had one time where I think she came home from school or on an early day we weren't aware of, and she just went over to the neighbor's house and hung out till we got home. But there's only once that I like wasn't there for her, and having something like this would have been wonderful. But yes, it's a back for me, absolute back.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a triple back.
All right.
I'll get
So that's the Tinnytel. And
Sorry, we went long on that one, but I really love the idea.
no, it's fine. What's great is I've realized the theme of this show is to solve your and my problems. So this is probably one of your more your problem where you want to have peace of mind over your girls list. So here's another problem that you and I both know as we go out and shoot video is that blasted lens cap. It's either you put it in a pocket, then you forget what pocket's in, or you have it doing the dangly thing, which is kind of annoying because it starts hitting things and it's just dangly.
It just swings, hits the tripod leg. Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah,
ding, ding.
and you're like, oh great, that's gonna not show up in the audio track, right?
You're right.
So this is the HackTack or HackTack.
HackTack.
And I love this idea. So tell people a little bit about it.
So as a lens cap enthusiast, I found the HackTack project to be really enticing. The idea is that you take your lens cap, which they all get lost, believe me, especially with students. I won't go there. But you take your lens cap and you put a little metal bar in the front of it, so it's actually pretty sexy looking. And you put a little metal bar in the front of the lens cap, and then you have this clip-on kind of wooden, really classy looking wooden clip that has back nits in it. So as soon as you pop that lens cap off, you can throw it onto that wherever it is, whether it's on the strap of the camera, on your gear bag, on your shirt, on your person somewhere, and that lens cap just goes boop, and you shoot and do whatever you need to do, and then pop it off and put it on. I think right there on the strap would be fine if you have strap on your camera. Anywhere on the gear bag. I really like the idea. It's strong magnets. I love the look. There's something sexy about this. There's something absolutely not sexy about the counterpart, which is that little elastic band that you put around the lens somewhere. And inevitably, for me, on my prime lenses, it gets in the way of turning the focus or anything. It just bugs. Not to mention, it has that little. It's like a sticky pad that sticks to the lens cap, and then that's the one that dangles. But it just looks like your lens cap has a mole. I don't know if you. That's what it looks like to me. So when I saw the HackTack, I thought this is kind of a clean, classy way to take care of what you need to and keep that lens cap from getting lost, but yet not have it get in the way during a shoot. So I love the HackTack. Did I miss anything on that? Oh, they have a version that's bumper free, so it's just straight wood, and then they have a version for like another $4 or $5 that has a nice little metal bumper around the outside, so it just looks good.
Yeah, and like looking at the pictures of all this stuff, it looks clean. I love it. I love the little animated GIF that they have where the guy just like takes it off and just throws it and it snaps on. That is cool.
Yep.
And this may be a little inside baseball for people who shoot things, but I love it. It's convenient. You're not gonna lose the cap, and those caps, depending on some of your lenses, if you need to get a the first party brands, they get a little pricey, and you're like, seriously?
Our DSLRs at school, I have 270s and 4 T3Is. I have so 6 cameras. I think I have 2 caps. I also have like 4 other lenses that the kids switch on and off. 2 caps for the entire set. And I have not replaced them because they are like 30 and 40 bucks a piece for a lens cap. And it's like, I know I could be saving a lens, and yes, I should get one, but it's just going to get lost again. Yeah. And with students, I kind of think, okay, even the HackTack, that would get lost. Like, it'd be like, okay, put your HackTack on so you don't lose the lens, but with these guys, it would get lost. So I wouldn't do this for school because there's too many hands using the same stuff. But I would definitely get this for my personal camera. I would use it as a tie tack at church all day.
Oh yeah, and I mean, here's a picture of it being used as a tie tack.
Yes, I would wear that.
I love it.
That's a 2-in-1 right there. I get a tie tack, and I can hold my lens caps. So that's the HackTack. Definitely, I love it. I love the simplicity. I think what I love also is that it's just a very simple way to innovate on something that we've, just the idea of magnets and lens caps. They go hand in hand. It seems like a nice iteration on that old problem. So for me, it's a back. I'm in there.
Yeah, this one's definitely a back too. Because I mean, when I'm shooting, I have so much crap. Well, not crap, but so much gear that's with me on there. I have microphones, I have cables, I have lights, I have audio recorders, I have the camera, I have a tripod. You lose things, and being able to keep this somewhere convenient, we're like, oh, yeah, I'll just snap it right there, and we're good. And
like all those things is stuff you put together and use throughout a shoot. The lens cap is the one thing you take away and try not to lose throughout a shoot. So this is
because scratching a lens is like one of those things where like, oh crap, because to put it into perspective, these lenses go from $200 to $2,000. On there, so being able to keep the cap on is always a nice thing, especially if it's on the higher end.
Yep. Yeah, I don't buy high end stuff. That's crazy. but I would totally get this for my camera.
Yep. So this is a back from me on there. All right. So we've solved your knowing where your kids are, Drew. We've solved the solution of missing the lens cap. The other problem is when you're out on a shoot. Actually, this actually combines kind of our first and first. So having a phone's one thing. Keeping a phone charged is another problem. And when you're on a shoot and you're not near a wall socket to charge anything, it's a big problem. And again, we go back to the wires. Wires can go anywhere because I've done this before. I'm pretty sure everybody has done this before. Is you have that little external battery pack.
Yeah,
and then you got the cable that's just sticking out of your pocket that leads back into the pocket into the phone.
Exactly. I do it from front pocket to back pocket, and so I look like I have like a wallet chain, but it's really like my USB cable going from my charge pack back to the phone.
Yeah. So our last project of the night is called the QiPack, and it is actually a portable wireless charger. So the Qi might sound familiar to you because that's actually a charging standard. It's the Qi charging standard. And it's this wireless portable charger right here. And one of the things that I love about it is how thin it is. It actually looks like it should be an Apple product. It's 8.9 millimeters of an aluminum enclosure. It has a nice chamfered edges and whatnot on there. And inside it actually has a 3,000 milliamp hours battery pack on there. So that's enough to charge most phones fully on there. And the nice part about this is no wires. The Qi standard is a wireless charging system.
And whether your phone has that wireless ability, or you need to just put a case or a case on it, or a coil pack or something, so that you can basically turn almost any phone into this wireless charging. It's brilliant. There's a lot of things out there that have tried to do the wireless over the years, and I was happy to see the Qi consortium come together and say this is what wireless standard should be happening. But every year at CES I hear about it, E3 I hear about it, but I haven't really seen it happening outside of those big cons.
Yeah, so it actually sneaks into phones that you don't realize. I mean, some of the supported devices they have are like the Google Nexus phones. They all have you can either change out the pack or put a coil in it. Those coils are really cool because what happens is instead of having a full case or things like that, you actually just take off your battery cover on there and you put the contacts on the leads to where it charges and then put your battery cover back on, and then it's instantly chargeable. So you don't add thickness to it. You don't add, you don't add this bulky case that some people might not like on there. And it's snuck into, so there's Android phones that have it, HTC, LG, Motorola.
It's been pretty quiet.
Even in the Windows Phone arena, Nokia phones, they have it's compatible on there. And then Samsung and Apple, of course, have the cases and the coils that you can modify for it. And that's why actually I try not to cover projects that are specifically for one device. But on the QiPack, the reason I covered it is because they tried to make it as versatile as possible and fit everything.
Just about anybody could use it for whatever phone they have. I love the Qi standard. I think it's nice to see it kind of sneaking in. I wonder what would happen if they had the HD radio marketing budget. HD radio has every commercial everywhere, and it's like, guys, that train sailed a long time ago. Nobody's doing HD. Anyway, if Qi had that, I think we'd see a lot more people like the QiPack getting on board and saying, okay, let's make these things wireless. I hate wires, so this is one thing that would be ideal for. Throw those two together, throw them in a backpack, and let it charge up. Or
look how slim and small it is. Like you could fit your phone and this into a standard size pocket. On there. So
it's beautiful.
The only thing that I'm not sure and I couldn't find is if you can use the QiPack while it's charging itself plugged in.
I think it can.
I think the video showed that, so you should be able to do it. So, but since it has its internal battery, you can do both. You can either just take it with you or just have it plugged in at the same time and charge both, which I love about this. And there's one drawback. So people are like, oh, this is my end to having wires and charging. There's one drawback is the Qi standard is actually a little bit slower than using a powered cable. But I think the trade-off of the portability, the wireless charging, is worth that trade-off.
Yeah, if I had a QiPack and had it charged up at nights, much like I charge my phone can't make it through the day. So I'm constantly, when I get my office or I go somewhere else, as quick as I can, I just plug it in and I have to leave it there for 45 minutes of my day. If I had a QiPack, throw the two in my pants pocket and probably have enough to get through the day, no problem, without even thinking about it. Or vice versa, just setting it down on something to charge without consciously saying, "Oh, I'm turn around, use this computer this time and USB it." So for me, this is a fantastic idea. I love how they designed it and put it together, and I would definitely like to see this in my hands.
Yeah, what's nice about this is you could buy a couple of those base stations, leave one next to your office, leave one in your car, and then you'll eventually develop a habit of always putting your phone in the same spot. So that solves two things. One, charges it all the time, and two, you'll always know where your phone is, which is something I kind of suffer with sometimes, is where did I put my phone.
And then I throw them both in my bag, and anytime I went shooting cons or going out for the day long shoots, I would have plenty of places to charge.
So I guess it's a double back for both of us. On there.
This is fantastic.
What was great is that both of us unintentionally picked it before we actually put it in the show notes. And then,
I was scouring through projects, and looking at them, and I was like, maybe that one. Okay, that's all right. Ooh, I love the QiPack. So I started to go put it into the show notes, and there it was already.
Yeah. I could just hear this this noise going, KT!
I was gonna do that one.
Yeah. Just emanate from all the way up north on there. So unfortunately though, Drew, we are actually at the end of our show today.
How did we get through that so fast?
I don't
30 straight minutes though.
Yeah, it was 30 straight minutes of goodness right there.
Yeah. I'd pay for that if I were me. That's good stuff. You guys are lucky. The live streaming people get to hang out with us in the chat room.
Yeah, I love the live stream people on there. And I just wanted to give out some shout outs to a couple projects right there that got sent in. They were on our list, but they just didn't make it on there. So I just want to send some love to the Doge cards. Jeff Mackey, he actually sent an email in on there. You guys go check that out. It's kind of cool.
I'll put the link in the chat for those guys that are there. But the Doge cards were a really cool, kind of a fun, dorky idea that just seemed like it'd be fun. So you guys got to watch the videos.
And then the other one is, hopefully I can say this, post-humanism. Oh man,
Humanimania.
Humanismania-rama. And it's it's a That was from Daniel. Oh man, I can't even say. I'm gonna butcher your name. I apologize, Daniel. It's Daniel
Obzecha?
Obzecha. Sorry, Daniel. On there, check out that project too. It's kind of a short film.
Kind of sci-fi deal that they wanted to like capture something and do it really.
Yeah, imagine what happens when we fuse ourselves with our computers essentially on there.
Because that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, that was a good one too. I did like that one. They've got 30 days left on their project. They're like more than 2/3 of the way there for a sci-fi short. I think it's going places.
Yeah. So thank you guys for emailing in. If you guys have a project or you find a cool project that you want to email in, please email it to us. KickCast@ktdata.net. We'll get it and we'll talk about it. And we'll if anything, we'll put it on the short list and we'll try to mention it at the end of the shows if we don't cover it fully on there.
Absolutely.
Or if you don't do the email thing, remember you can always do the social network things on there. So we're on Facebook. Make sure to like us right there. The button looks something like this, and that's facebook.com/kickcast. Or you can send it to us on the tweeters. We like the tweeters.
I love the tweeters.
That's at KickCast or at Night20 or at Ktdata. Either way, one of us will see it on there. Or, if you're listening to us on a podcast on YouTube or on whatever, first of all, thank you. And if you haven't yet, please hit subscribe. And as my internet dies...
Yeah, I was going to say, one of us just died. Are you back? Are you back?
Yes, I'm back. As my internet dies, so please subscribe on that. I'd love you guys if you do on there. Other than that, of course, join our live chat. You can find that at live.kickcast.net. Our next show is going to be May 13th.
Right after Mother's Day.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta go get a Mother's Day gift. Maybe I'll just find a Kickstarter project back. That's always the safe way to do it. And my internet's dying perfect on there. So make sure you guys join in on there and check out Drew on the Little Big Cast. That is always another good show there. As my internet just dies, sorry guys. But check him out on there. It's a great show. I enjoy watching it. They don't believe me, but I do listen to every of those shows. And I will, on behalf of Drew, I'm Ktdata, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye. Remember to poop.
P.S. Can you see my beard? I have a beard. Can you see it?
Sort of. I barely could see it on the JVC cameras.
Dang it. I was counting on that.
This is why your students don't watch this.
I have a beard. I worked really hard at this. How come
I can kind of see a little scruff, sort of.
A little bit right here. Everybody's coming to the showtime. It's episode 40. 40. Give yourself a 40. All right, I'm done. Go ahead.